Have you ever been in a meeting where someone just wouldn't listen? Where you had a good idea, but the other person shut it down because they thought they knew better? That frustration you felt, that's ego at work, and it destroys more careers than you think.
It really does. And the worst part is, most people don't even realize their ego is the problem.
Exactly. So today, we're talking about something that affects almost every workplace, how ego ruins communication. Whether you're starting your first job or still searching for one, this episode will help you avoid one of the biggest career mistakes people make.
By the end of this conversation, you'll understand what ego really is, how it shows up at work, and most importantly, what you can do to keep it in check. Because trust me, controlling your ego is one of the fastest ways to grow in your career.
Let's start with a simple question. What exactly is ego?
Good question. A lot of people think ego means being confident or proud, but that's not quite right. Ego is when you care more about being right than about finding the truth. It's when you care more about looking smart than actually learning.
So it's like putting your image first?
Yes, exactly. Ego makes you protect your image instead of improving yourself. And that's dangerous, especially when you're communicating with others.
Okay, so how does this show up at work? Like, what does ego actually look like in real situations?
Let me give you some examples. Imagine you're in a team meeting. Your manager suggests a new way to do something. But instead of listening, you immediately think, no, my way is better. You don't even consider their idea. That's ego.
Oh, I've seen that happen. People just defend their own ideas without even thinking.
Right. Or here's another one. A coworker gives you feedback. Maybe they say, hey, I think this report could be clearer. And instead of saying thank you, you feel attacked. You think they're criticizing you as a person, so you get defensive.
Yeah, that happens a lot. It's hard to take feedback sometimes.
It is, but that's ego again. When your ego is big, feedback feels like an insult. But when your ego is small, feedback feels like a gift.
I like that. Feedback as a gift. That's a good way to think about it.
And there's one bigger sign of ego: interrupting. When someone is talking and you cut them off because you think you already know what they're going to say, or because you think your point is more important.
Guilty. I've done that before.
We all have. That's the thing. Ego isn't just for arrogant people. We all have it. The key is to notice it and manage it.
So why is ego such a big problem for communication?
Because communication is about connection. It's about understanding each other. But ego blocks that. When your ego is in charge, you stop listening. You stop being open. You just want to win the conversation.
And when that happens, nobody really wins.
Exactly. Teams fall apart, projects fail, relationships break, all because people can't put their egos aside and just talk honestly.
This makes me think of something. I feel like ego is even worse for beginners. Like when you're new, you want to prove yourself so badly.
You're absolutely right. Beginners often have the biggest egos, and they don't even realize it.
Wait, really? I thought beginners would be more humble.
You'd think so, but here's what happens. When you're new, you feel insecure. You're afraid people will think you're not good enough, so you try to act like you know everything. You don't ask questions because you don't want to look stupid.
Oh wow, so the ego is actually covering up fear.
Yes, ego is often just fear in disguise. Fear of looking weak, fear of being wrong, fear of not being respected.
That's so true. I remember my first internship. I was terrified to ask questions. I thought people would judge me.
And what happened?
I made mistakes because I didn't ask. I just pretended I understood everything.
Exactly, and that's the trap. Your ego tells you to protect your image, but actually asking questions makes you look smarter, not dumber.
I wish I knew that back then.
Well, now you do, and that's what matters.
So let's talk about solutions. How do you actually control your ego at work?
First, you have to recognize when it's showing up, and that takes self-awareness.
What do you mean by self-awareness?
It means paying attention to your own thoughts and feelings, especially in conversations. Ask yourself, am I really listening or am I just waiting to talk?
That's a great question. I think most of us are just waiting to talk.
We are, and that's the problem. Real listening means you're curious, you're open, you're trying to understand the other person, not just respond.
Okay, so step 1 is self-awareness. What's next?
Step 2 is learning to pause. When someone says something you disagree with, don't react immediately. Take a breath, count to 3, give yourself time to think before you speak.
Why does that help?
Because ego reacts fast. It wants to defend you right away. But wisdom is slow. Wisdom thinks before it speaks.
I love that. Ego is fast, wisdom is slow.
Exactly. So when you pause, you give wisdom a chance to catch up.
What about when someone criticizes you? How do you not take it personally?
That's tough, but here's a trick. Separate yourself from your work. You are not your job. You are not your project. You are not your mistake.
Can you say more about that?
Sure. Let's say you write a report and your boss says it's confusing. Your ego hears you're confusing, you're bad at your job. But the truth is, your boss is just talking about the report, not about you as a person.
So you have to mentally separate the two.
Yes, and when you do that, feedback becomes easier to hear. You stop feeling attacked. You start feeling helped.
That makes so much sense.
There's one more thing that really helps. Asking questions instead of making statements.
What do you mean?
Okay, imagine you disagree with someone. Instead of saying, that's wrong, try saying, can you help me understand why you think that? Or, what am I missing here?
Oh, that's smart. It keeps the conversation open.
Exactly. And it shows humility. It shows you're willing to learn. That's the opposite of ego.
Let me share a quick story that might help people understand this better.
Go ahead.
I have a friend. Let's call her Maya. She got her first job at a marketing agency. She was so excited. She had all these ideas from university. She thought she was going to impress everyone.
I can already tell where this is going.
Right? So in her first team meeting, her manager presented a campaign idea, and Maya immediately said, I don't think that will work. Here's a better idea. And she started explaining her own plan.
Oh, no.
Yeah, the room went quiet. Her manager just nodded and moved on. But after the meeting, her manager pulled her aside, and she said, Maya, I appreciate your enthusiasm, but you didn't even ask why we chose this direction. You didn't ask about our budget or our audience. You just assumed you knew better.
That must have been hard to hear.
It was. Maya felt embarrassed, but it was also a huge lesson for her. She realized her ego had taken over. She was so focused on proving herself that she forgot to listen and learn first.
What did she do after that?
She changed her approach. She started asking questions. She started saying things like, that's interesting. Can you tell me more about why we're doing it this way? Or what have you tried before? And guess what? People started respecting her more.
Because she showed she was willing to learn.
Exactly. And within 6 months, her ideas were being taken seriously because she wasn't pushing them with ego anymore. She was sharing them with humility.
That's a perfect example. Maya's story shows that humility isn't weakness, it's actually strength.
So let's give people some really practical advice. What should someone start tomorrow to communicate with less ego?
Okay, here are 5 simple things anyone can do.
I'm ready.
Number 1, before every meeting or conversation, remind yourself, my goal is to understand, not to win.
That's a good mindset shift.
Number 2, when someone is talking, really listen. Don't think about your response, just listen. You can even repeat back what they said to make sure you understood.
Like, so what you're saying is that kind of thing.
Exactly. It shows you care about understanding them.
What's number 3?
Number 3, ask more questions than you make statements, especially when you're new. Questions show you're curious and open to learning.
And people love when you ask them questions. It makes them feel valued.
Absolutely. Number 4, when you receive feedback, say thank you. Even if you don't agree, even if it stings, just say, thank you for telling me. I'll think about that.
That's hard to do, but so important.
It is. And finally, number 5, admit when you don't know something. It's okay to say, I'm not sure, or I don't have experience with that. Honesty builds trust. Pretending destroys it.
Those are all so simple, but so powerful.
The best advice usually is.
I want to add one more thing. Practice self-reflection. At the end of each day or each week, ask yourself, did I listen today? Did I let my ego take over in any conversation? What could I have done better?
That's excellent, because you can't change what you don't notice. Self-reflection helps you notice.
Let's wrap this up with some key takeaways. What do we want people to remember most?
First, ego is not confidence. Ego is fear disguised as pride. It makes you protect your image instead of growing as a person.
Second, ego shows up in small ways. Interrupting people, refusing feedback, acting like you know everything. Watch for these signs in yourself.
Third, Controlling your ego makes you a better communicator, and better communication leads to better relationships, better teamwork, and better career opportunities.
And finally, humility is not weakness. Asking questions, admitting mistakes, and listening carefully are signs of strength and maturity.
If you take one thing from this episode, let it be this: the less ego you have, the more you'll grow.
I really hope this helps someone out there, especially if you're just starting your career and feeling that pressure to prove yourself.
Remember, you don't have to know everything. You just have to be willing to learn everything.
That's beautiful. Okay, so before we finish, I want to encourage you. If this episode made you think, take a few minutes today and reflect. Think about one conversation where your ego showed up. What happened? What could you have done differently?
And if you're about to go into a meeting or have a tough conversation, set an intention. Tell yourself, I'm going to listen more than I talk today. See what happens.
Small changes make a big difference over time.
They really do.
Thank you so much for listening today. We'll be back soon with another episode to help you navigate your career with more clarity and confidence.
Until then, keep learning, keep listening, and keep your ego in check.
Take care. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to our channel for more daily